where they search for more outside-the-box options to help them meet their body composition goals. Maybe you've heard of things like using no-calorie sweeteners, using stand-up desks, wearing ice-cold vests, or simply sleeping more. The theory behind these methods is generally to either 1, decrease the amount of food you eat, or 2, increase your total energy expenditure. The overarching theme and rationale of these methods is that they help manipulate both energy intake and energy expenditure, which theoretically could result in body composition changes. Does this sound familiar? It makes sense that these less common methods try to create a negative energy balance to increase fat use. This lecture is dedicated to evaluating the efficacy of some of the less traditional approaches to altering body composition. First, let's talk about tools and tricks that are used to decrease total energy intake in order to manipulate body composition. One very common method comes in a tiny little colorful packet everywhere you go. To limit calorie intake, many people choose to use low-calorie or no-calorie sweeteners. Originally, these artificial sweeteners were for people with diabetes because of their inability to handle large doses of real sugar. But in recent years, these sweeteners have been incorporated into diets of those looking to lose weight and fat. Sugar consumption in the diet of Americans has increased astronomically too, and not only due to soft drinks, but also from other processed foods like cookies, salad dressing, and condiments. On average, each American consumes approximately 130 pounds, almost 60 kilograms of sugar per year. Given that excess of any macronutrient, carbohydrates, fats, or proteins, can be the enemy of ideal body composition, it seems fitting that we look to other options for controlling your sweet tooth. It seems perfect, right? With substitutes like sucralose and aspartame, for example, it is typically thought that we still get the sweet without the negative insulin-stimulating impact of sugar, all while lowering caloric intake. There's quite a bit of research to back this up. Even the American Heart Association tells us that replacing sugary foods and drinks with artificial sweeteners is a way to limit calories and achieve or maintain a healthy weight. But there has also been conflicting evidence when it comes to the safety of some of these sweeteners. Let's take a look at both sides of the argument. In 2014, a meta-analysis tallied the data from over 35 years of research evaluating low-calorie sweeteners and their impact on body weight and body composition. This was actually one of the most comprehensive reviews completed on artificial sweeteners. It was reported that the use of low-calorie sweeteners resulted in a modest but significant reduction in body weight, body mass index, fat mass, and waist circumference. Now, based on these results, the authors concluded that using low-calorie sweeteners instead of full-calorie versions could improve weight loss. This is a good sign, but conflicting data exists too. There have been some claims that the use of artificial sweeteners can actually increase body weight and may cause negative health effects. For example, one study evaluated the metabolic effects of one sugar substitute called sucralose, which is sold as Splenda. Results showed that one dose of sucralose caused a small increase in blood glucose concentrations, an increase in insulin levels, and a decrease in insulin clearance. Even with no calories, sucralose may still cause an increase in blood glucose, albeit small, which is the exact opposite of the desired effect of artificial sweeteners. Now, others have looked at sucralose consumption over 12 weeks. This study was in rats, and it also looked at doses of sucralose that were equivalent to what humans would normally eat. Results showed a decrease in the good type of fecal microflora and an increase in fecal pH. An imbalance of good and bad gastrointestinal microflora or bacteria in your gut may be related to weight gain and obesity. So, what is the bottom line here about low-calorie sweeteners? I think you may find success using low-calorie sweeteners in moderation to decrease energy intake and help maintain weight loss. Although more research is needed, it seems reasonable to try and choose the artificial sweeteners that are as natural as you can get. For example, stevia is an herb. You can even grow it in your garden. Now, just because they may be more natural does not mean that they're safer. It is probably best to just limit added sugars or added artificial sweeteners when possible. Other popular dietary methods that people use to try to improve body composition and weight loss is the ever-popular detox or cleanse diet. I'm sure you know people who have tried these diets or have even tried them yourself. Detox regimens normally include pretty serious calorie restriction and focus on the consumption of fruits and vegetables only, many times in the form of juices. Major advocates of these types of diets are celebrities who claim that cleanses provide them with more energy and help them to quickly lose weight. So, did the celebrities or the scientists have this figured out? Well, first, it can't be denied that with low calorie intake, you are likely to see weight loss results. But where is this weight coming from? Is it from fat or is it from muscle? Well, the weight loss from detox diets is most likely coming from a loss of stored glucose, also called glycogen. This makes sense because when you drastically reduce calorie intake, you will likely also lower your blood glucose quite a bit. This would make you rely on stored glycogen found in your liver and your muscles to help keep a normal blood glucose concentration. In fact, you will deplete glycogen stores from your body in just 24 to 48 hours, which results in even more weight loss because glycogen is stored with water. So you end up losing stored glucose and water weight. Cleanses or detox diets only provide short-term fixes for weight loss and do not result in long-term improvements in fat mass. They might even decrease your muscle mass, which is definitely not desirable. In my opinion, the science does not support the use of detox diets for health or body composition improvements. Until I see consistent research evidence to the contrary, with a healthy liver, you have all the detox power that you need. Now, probably the easiest way to consume fewer calories overall and to create a negative energy balance is to consider how much you eat out at restaurants every week. In 2014, researchers looked at the effects of restaurant food consumption on total calorie intake. Not surprisingly, eating out at a fast food or a full-service restaurant resulted in increase in total energy intake, saturated fat, and sodium intake. In fact, eating out resulted in approximately an extra 200 calories eaten per day. If you did this every day, that's an extra 73,000 calories per year. and possibly up to 20 pounds of fat gain per year. Even if it's not a full 20 pounds, you're still setting yourself up for trouble with your body composition. The crazy part is that this is not uncommon. The typical adult American eats a meal or snack from a restaurant 5.8 times per week. You can see how this may cause a long-term positive energy balance, especially if you make poor choices at the restaurant and don't exercise much. Even with busy schedules, making a conscious effort to prepare more meals at home may make the difference between being stuck in a plateau and reaching the goals you have set for yourself. You'll hear much more about this in an upcoming lecture. So now let's move away from eating out and think about eating at home. Have you ever heard that it is best to use small plates and bowls to limit how much food you can eat at one sitting? The idea is that if you have bigger plates and bowls, you are more likely to increase your portion sizes and overeat compared to if you use smaller versions. Well, this may actually be a myth based on the science that exists. It turns out that when people are given the option of using a small plate or a large plate, it didn't actually change the number of total calories that they ate at that meal. But it is definitely important to be conscious of portion sizes you are dishing up for yourself when cooking at home or eating out. Sometimes you just need to really try and practice eating until you're about 80% full. It can take a little while for you to realize that you've had enough to eat, sometimes as long as 15 to 20 minutes. So, what about the energy output side of the energy balance equation? What unusual ways exist to control how many calories you burn in a day? This is a biggie and brings us to the subject of the sedentary nature of our society. Americans spend an average of 13 hours per day with no movement. If you add in 8 hours of sleep, this makes a whopping total of 21 hours per day. That's 21 hours. That's almost 90% of your day.